Okay, so welcome to Messenger Sales Secrets. And I laugh because it is a doozy, is a whopper. It's crazy how I came up with this whole process, right? So it's messenger selling through Messenger, whether it be LinkedIn, whether it be Facebook, is easier than most people think. It's very, very simple. Now, let me kind of tell you about how I came up with this, what happened. I'm coming from the biz op world. Like I'm coming from the world where I used to sell affiliate marketing, like opportunity to people who were like mom and dad, like soccer mom, regular Joe Schmo construction worker kind of people. So in that industry, it was really, really tough to sell those kinds of opportunities, especially for multiple thousands of dollars, right? It's really, really hard. Um, Most of those people can't afford to, they're living paycheck to paycheck. They can't even afford to pay the rent next month, let alone drop, $5,000 on your coaching to help them start an affiliate marketing business. So, needless to say, I heard no a lot back in my days and just messaging people trying to sell them my consulting, my coaching in that atmosphere, right? In that environment. So I remember specifically, there was a few days, a few weeks where I was like sending out friend requests and message, just sending out messenger. Hey, would you like to, hey, would you check out this link, check out this stuff, check out, I can help you. And it was like constantly, no, it was constantly like, get out of here. You're pitching me stuff. I hate you. You're stupid. I'm going to smack you in the face. You're the worst person alive. Right. And it used to kill me. It used to, oh my God. I mean, I was broke at the time. So I was looking for any dollar I could make. Oh my God, how do I figure this out? Right. Everybody was just telling me, oh, it's the worst thing. You're the worst person ever. Sometimes they would even pitch me back. Like they'd tell me, oh, you're stupid. Here's another Bitcoin and Forex and nerdy stuff out there that they would try to pitch me and try to sell me and try to like make money off me. And we're just getting these crazy pitching wars, right? Instead of me making money. So, so it kind of bore out of necessity. It kind of bore out of like, I got to figure this out. I got to figure out an effective way to sell through Messenger. Now, luckily, a friend of mine, another consultant, his name is Tiger Rush. He is like, is and still is, he still is, and he was like super like nerd out on this whole online marketing process, on this whole, we got to figure this out. We got to figure out how to do sales. We got to figure out how to do marketing. And he was going through a lot of the same things. And he came to me and he told me, said, Joel, like, I'm sending out like 100 friend requests a day on Facebook. And I'm like talking to all these people and everyone's telling me no. I'm like, me too. I'm like, what the hell? Like, how come everybody's telling us no? We can't sell something worth $1, let alone $1,000. Right? Everyone's telling us no. So we looked at the process. We said, what are we doing wrong? So what we did, especially him, what he would do was he would go to high level 7, 8, 9-figure businesses. And he would go into their Facebook groups, their kind of circles of, who they're serving, what they're doing. He would go into their world and he would purposely be pitched by them. Right? He would purposely reach out to their team, reach out to the CEO, whatever, and be pitched by them. Why? So that he could hack their process. Right. So he said, well, there's a lot of people out there making a lot of money off this, figuring this all out, doing it very effectively. Why not just go learn from them, but not by, joining their program or, buying a bunch of their stuff, but by actually being part of the process. Let me actually go in there and kind of like pose as a lead, kind of like they used to back in the cartoons where like, the cartoon would wear like a trench coat and like sneak into the theater or something like that. That's what he did. That's what I did. We both practiced that for a while. And what happened was we started learning so many little cues, they're very subtle, the way that they do messenger, the way that they reach out, the way that they, have these kind of skilled questions in there to ask you to kind of fish out information from you. It was very like highly skillful. I mean, obviously they're making millions upon millions of dollars. And it was like, okay, we got to adapt some of what they're doing into our business, right? Into our businesses. We have different businesses, but we're friends. So yeah, so we would write out exactly what they're doing and analyze it. So what are they doing, right? They were taking people, and this is what I ended up doing. This is a horrible stick figure. Just don't mind this. It's just forget about it. I'm very bad at drawing. Okay, don't judge me. So take them to Messenger, right? Take them to Messenger leading into a video, right? Leading into a video or a call, like a sales call. But I preferred the video after a while because it was so much faster and easier to scale. And we'll get into that later. But that's essentially, right? That's essentially the strategy. You take a person, you message them, and you send them to a video. And that's it. And they would literally sell themselves. Like they literally had it set up to where people would just buy all the time. And you don't have to pay for ads. You don't have to run like this complicated system. You could just teach this to your team, go out there, here's the scripts, here's what you say to people, and it would work overnight like gangbusters, just like all the time. So we started using the same stuff. I started using the same stuff. And I started training my team and teaching my team how to do it too. And it was like bam, 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 bam. The next thing I knew, it was like overnight. I made 6 figures in 7 months in affiliate marketing. Affiliate marketing is like traditionally, it's like I said, it's like a business opportunity kind of offer. So it's like not normal to do that, but this process works. Okay. It works 100%. Now we're going to go into, now that I've explained that kind of, we're going to go into the details of, okay, this process works. This is exactly how it is. This is exactly what you do. We're going to go into the actual tactics. So I'm going to lay it out here. What do I actually do inside this strategy, this messenger strategy? Now, if this actually would work, that would be nice, right? So let me see here. Oh, you know what I'm doing? Pressing the wrong thing. So that might be part of the reason why it's not working. Anyway, nobody ever said I was like the world's greatest tech master, right? Just a good messenger seller. So check this out. And you can use this for yourself to close clients. You can do this to train your team. So they're out there closing a much higher percentage of the clients out there for free, right? They don't need to run ads. You can be running ads and do this like supplementary, right? It also helps you just convert more people. It's very important to be a skilled messenger. You can like close sales like while you're out on vacation with your family. It's amazing. So here's the basic outline, right? Here is the actual like tactics of what we're doing. We're going to dive deep with examples here in a minute, but here's the tactics. So we're going to start off, we're going to build a connection, right? We're going to connect. We're connection. There's a connection. These kind of like phases. Think of them as like phases. And in this connection phase, excuse me, in this connection phase, what we're basically going to be doing is we're just reaching out. Simple as that. It's very, very simple. Reaching out. Okay. And in this connection phase, I'm going to give you an example, just like an opening line, right? If you go up to a woman at a bar, I can't speak for women because I'm a man. Okay. You go up to a woman at a bar or a club or whatever, and you say like, let's get married. Right? It's like you're gonna get slapped, you're gonna get drinks thrown in your face, you're gonna get like kicked in the balls, you're gonna all kinds of stuff, right? So it's not gonna work if you reach out. And I was actually doing this, right? I was actually in the biz op kind of thing, like, hey, check out my opportunity. That's why I had so many no's. That's why I had so many people like, no, absolutely not. I don't want that, right? So that's not the smart way to do it. That's not any way to do it, really. So that would be the connection phase. That would be the first thing. Now, once you have them connected, once you are saying the right thing right from the gate, right from the beginning, I like to open a conversation as like, hey, this is where I met you. I see that you're into this. Nice to meet you. Simple as that. Simple as that. Try not to overcomplicate this thing. Say 5 million things, because the more that you say, this is a cardinal rule. I'm going to write it down over here. The more you say, comma, right? The more you say, the more pressure you're creating. The more you say, the more, I'm going to underline this word because it's so important moving forward as we learn all these tactics, right? The more you say, the more pressure you're creating. Literally, before I get online, before I do a lot of this messenger selling stuff, literally I will like meditate, reflect, have like spiritual time, like really get to my, woo-woo kind of center, right? Just like, because you want to come from a place where you're not needy. You want to come from a place where you're not like pushy, because you're going to start talking too much. And subconsciously, you're going to be creating buying pressure, creating this like resistance. We're like, what are they trying to do here? Are they You know, are they trying to sell me something? Are they trying to da da da? And yes, we're trying to sell them something, but when you feel needy, think about like, I'm going to use a dating example again. If you're a woman, if you typically, if a man is very pushy, right? If they're like constantly trying to send you flowers and call you and tell you like you're pretty every freaking day and trying to get a date with you, it repels you. It's the opposite, right? They think it's working. It's really like, God, what's wrong with this guy? Why is he like so clingy and weird? That's what you come off as in Messenger if you're like talking too much and trying to do too much convincing. Get that out of your head. It's the opposite. It does not work. Okay, it does not work. And if it does work, it's very low percentages. If you have your team out there getting clients through Messenger and doing kind of like organic marketing stuff, and you notice that the close rates aren't that great, it's probably because they're very pushy. Train them to not be pushy. Okay. So that's the connection phase. The next thing we're going to do is build rapport. Okay. Now, rapport, I'll put here a little dot dot. The rapport is not 24 hours of, oh, how's the weather? Oh, did you watch the football game last night? Oh, how'd you do? How'd you da da da? Like really deeply getting to know each other, because what'll happen is you'll end up in the friend zone. And it's nearly impossible to sell from the friend zone. It's just in my experience. Okay. It's nearly impossible to sell because people will not perceive you as an expert, as somebody who can solve their problem, whether it be you or your team, right? It's just really, really hard. So don't do that. Okay. When I say rapport, I mean like one sentence. Like that's it. It's rapport is just one thing. Now, in my example, I'm going to use the BizOp example, affiliate marketing. Usually rapport, I say something like, so what brings you to the online business world? What brings you to the affiliate world? Like, or, you know, so what's your story? Just something like that. It opens the floor for them to talk. Another cardinal rule, I'm going to put a star here for cardinal rules. Cardinal rule number 2. Okay. Cardinal rule, whomever, I'm going to get to your question in a second. Whomever asks the question, ask the question is in control. Okay. This is like a deeply psychological like thing that I'm not going to go super deep into and go way over your head. But think about it as the ball is in your court, right? Playing tennis. You send the ball over to them over the net in the tennis court, right? Send the ball over to them. Now it's their swing. They have to do something, right? Whomever asked the question in a conversation is in control of the conversation. They set the frame, they set the parameters, right? I've been to jail. So a part of the process of being in jail is that the detective will interrogate you, right? They'll take you in that interrogation room. Yes, that's a real thing. If you thought it was only in movies, it's not. It's a real thing, okay? Oh, it's this camera. It's a real thing. They actually sit you in a room. They actually ask you like, where were you? What happened? Da 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 da. It's a real thing. They're interrogating you. But guess what? They're in control. You're not, right? You're not in control. Unless you say, where's my lawyer? Now you're in control, right? Because you asked the question, you set the frame, you set the standard. So that's just another golden rule for all conversation and Messenger. Whomever is asking the questions is in control. So I've seen a lot of Messenger conversations, especially mine included, where if I let the prospect start asking too many questions and I answer them, now they're in control of the conversation. You do not want that ever. Okay, ever. It's a cardinal rule. Now let me see what this question is here, or comment. I have trouble with this. I go too hard. That's why we're here, Christy. That's why we're here. No big deal. We're gonna get this all fixed now. Well, another comment here. Let me see. I go too far into the friends. It's normal. It's normal, but it can be fixed. It can be improved. It can be worked on. Part of that curve, right? Becoming like an expert, can becoming really good at it, and do some self-work. Like I said, do some like, you know, in the morning or before you start your day, before you start your work. I like to have a cup of coffee and just kind of reflect, just kind of breathe, release yourself from all the expectations. Like I have to make a sale. I have to like close the deal. I have to release all of that, even in Messenger or a call or whatever you want to do. But Messenger, because that's what we're talking about, release yourself from all that. Instead, focus on get really good at the process. Enjoy the process. Every time they say something in Messenger, you have time to think. You don't have to rush. right? That's the beauty of Messenger, is that the back and forth of texting, you have a chance to think about what you're going to say, right? You're not face to face. So it's like, okay, they said this. What would be a great response to that? Usually the answer is a question. Okay, because you're in control when you're asking questions, usually. Unless, I mean, there's times when I just get into regular conversation, but that's all, that's like ninja stuff. Okay, that's like, as you get better and better at this, you'll know the difference. Should I ask a question, or should I like do a little bit rapport? Sometimes I'll answer their question but follow it up with my question, because I want to get right back in control, right? I don't want to dive too deep into their world, their frame, what they're talking about. Now, once we build rapport, like I said, it's one sentence, it's one thing. You just say, get it out the way, you build rapport, you get them talking. I go straight into what I call the transition phase. I hope I'm spelling this right. Transition, or is this a T? I don't know. Like, I wasn't very good at school. So transition, right? All of these are phases. Think of them as phases in a messenger conversation: connection, rapport, transition. Now, transition is where you ask. I'm going to show you an example of all this in a second. Ask permission, okay, to ask questions. It's extremely, I can't stress it enough. And I'm about to do something a little crazy, okay? But just bear with me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to repeat myself about 10 times, like maybe less than that. It'd be really annoying. But I'm going to repeat myself and make sure you hear me here, because this is like super, like extremely important, okay? You need to ask permission to ask questions, okay? Permission is everything. You need to ask permission. 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 I can't explain to you how many times I've had clients, I've had people, I've taught this ninja stuff. I've taught this like whole technique to so many people. And for the ones that do it right, it's changed their lives, okay? Like they've made thousands of dollars, like whenever the hell they want to, just with their phone, right? But the ones that fail, that don't do it right, they don't ask permission. That's the one step. This transition step right here is so important. And a lot of people who I teach this to, I look at their chat. I literally look over their shoulder. I'm like, okay, let's see what went wrong. When did you ask permission? Oh, I forgot. Exactly. Asking permission is probably the most important thing you can do. And when I say ask permission to ask questions, you'll see what I mean in the example. We'll go deeper into it. But there's an entire phase, right? This transition phase right here lasts about 4 or 5 steps. What I mean by that is, after the transition, you're going to ask them about 4 or 5 questions. Okay, depending on your industry, depending on what you're selling, etc. You kind of tailor it to yourself. But what you're going to do inside this transition phase, hear me out here, is you're going to ask very specific, very skillful questions. I'm going to give you a lot of ideas here in the example of where they are. Okay, what is the gap, right? Where they are. What's the gap here? From here to here. What's the gap? Oh, that's all. That looks like a 6, not a G. Where's the gap? From here to here. What is this, right? Where are they now? Versus, okay, where do you want to be? And finally, well, what's stopping you from getting there? We want to know that. Very skilled questions. If we don't know where they are, where they want to be, and what's the gap, what's the roadblock, what's the thing standing in their way, there's nothing we can sell to them. Because your job as a consultant, a salesperson, whatever you are, your job is not to just push your offer into them and just say, here's the thing that you want this. Just be pushy. It's absolutely horrible. Doesn't work. Your job is to figure out what they want and decide if there's a sale to be made, if there's a sale there in the first place. That should take a lot of pressure off of you right there, right? If you feel like, oh, I don't like selling to people, I feel guilty, I feel this, I feel that, good. You don't have to. Your job is not to try to sell them anything. Your job is to figure out if there's something there in the first place, if there's something you can help them with. You won't know unless you ask. But you're not asking, hey, are you interested in buying my thing? What thing? I don't even know. What the hell is that? I don't care about that. No. Instead, you ask, where are you? Where do you want to go? And what's holding you back? What's missing there? What's the gap? They'll explain it to you. They will explain it to you if you do this right. If you've asked permission and you've been friendly, people love to be understood. If you have a problem with selling, I always tell people this: people love to buy, they just don't love to be sold. If you go to your, this should break that mentality. If you go to your local shopping mall right now, every fucking city in America has a shopping mall, right? Go there right now. Drop this whole thing, press pause, and go to the mall right now. Just take your kids, go to the mall. Okay, go there for a mental shift, a mental reframe. That if you think, oh my God, I'm still so scared of selling stuff, look at people in the mall. Watch them walk up and down the mall all day long, buy a bunch of useless junk all day long. It's the American way, okay? Just watch them all day long, up and down. I used to do it all the time to set my mind for the reframe of selling is okay. Selling is okay. I did that because if you feel guilty, you feel like this imposter syndrome, this, why would anybody buy from me? I'm so scared. Look at them at the mall. They're walking up and down buying stuff anyway without you, right? It's because they love to buy stuff, but they hate to be sold. Understand the difference there. So when you're pushy, when you're like, you should buy this, you should buy that, yeah, people are going to tell you no. But if instead you're like, well, what's the problem? And they tell you what the problem is. Okay, are you open to getting that solved? Yeah. Now you have a sale. The sale was there without you before you came along. You didn't create a sale. The sale was already there. All you did was figure it out and serve them. That's where the word sale comes from. It's like, I think it's Latin or Greek, one of those fancy languages. It means to serve. So if you're not serving, you should feel bad. Okay, you should you should feel guilty. If you're serving, don't feel guilty. They told you they want the thing, give them the thing. Okay, so at rant over, right? So that was a very important rant because a lot of clients that I have that problem with selling, and it's like, selling is not a bad thing. You just have to do it right. Okay, you have to come from a place of concern. You're actually asking them questions. So after that transition phase, and they've told you what the gap is, now we are going to what I call the video, or let me fix this here because this looks crazy. The aggregator gator video. Agitator, aggregator, I don't know, one of those words. I'm really bad with vocabulary and spelling and stuff like that. I'm not great at school. But what the video's purpose is, let me put my little dots here, is to sell the framework. Okay, sell the framework. What does that mean? They've now told you what the gap is. They've now told you what the problem is, and they've told you that they're open to getting that problem solved. They're open to investing and spending some money on solving that problem. We'll talk about what that looks like, and we'll show you what that looks like. So they've told you that, right? So now you're going to send them to a video, preferably just on YouTube. You don't need any software. You don't need any like webinar hosting stuff or whatever. You don't need any of that stuff. Send them to just an unlisted YouTube video, and it's positioned in a way where it's a private beta or some exclusive kind of program that you're inviting them to, right? It gives that allure of like exclusivity, that like, well, this is a beta, I'm only taking this many clients, whatever. It makes it look that way because it's an unlisted YouTube video. Like, okay, it was not just letting anybody else in here, like whoever. This is a private thing. And the video serves to then sell the framework. That you've created this framework of how you can solve their problem. And in that video, it should be no more than 10 minutes. It's going to spell out who you are, what you've learned, how, like where they are, and how you can solve that problem. And like, hey, if this is for you, then come on back to the chat. Let me know. Are you in or are you out? And that's it. It's not a super complicated problem. Sorry, super complicated video. I have templates I can give you and all that stuff like that, so you can create your own. And that's it. They come back to you in Messenger. If you've done a good job, if you've shown concern, or the video lines up with exactly what they want, they're going to come back to you and say, yeah, I'm in. That sounds awesome. I'm in there. That's like, well, when do we start? What do I do next? And you just send them the payment information. That's it. You can do this all day long, right? And that would be the last step. Let me just write that down. Close. Just send them the payment thing. Close is pretty straightforward. So you can do this all day long, 50 times a day, close an infinity number of sales because you're not taking an hour at a time, like getting on a call. You can do all of this just in Messenger, just in LinkedIn Messenger, in Facebook Messenger. It's worked on both for me, and it works. Okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, so let's get into some examples. But before that, is there any questions? Any questions? Type them in the chat. Now would be a good time so that I can get to it. I can read it. Let me okay, let me pull up some Messenger right here, and I can show you some examples. Now, this is my Messenger, my Facebook Messenger flow. There's somebody right now who said yes. Oh, there's a question that came in. Hold on one second. Do you build your program before you send them the video? No, absolutely not. No. If you're a consultant, coach, it doesn't even matter. Whatever the hell you offer, you're building a program. You always want to sell the program before you ever build it, because what you're going to do with these beta clients, these private, these people that you're getting into this fix, this idea, it doesn't even matter if it's freelance work, right? I've seen agencies built, people build agencies like Facebook ads agencies, funnel building agencies, built from what I'm teaching them. And what they do is they get the sale first, and then they go hire the helpers. They're almost like contractors. They go hire the helpers to help them finish the job after they've made the sale. Okay, so it's like, you don't want to do that. Like, no, this is how you make the work easier. Not make the work easier, but make it smarter, not harder, right? You want to sell it before you ever build it, because you're going to build it later. You're going to build it around them, right? Kind of like this. I'm just recording this process. I'm building it around the beta clients. Okay, so let's see here. So this guy's a good example, right? He actually was what I call a follow-up. Follow-ups, you can consider that another part of the process. Sometimes people go dead, right? They just go cold. They're just gone. They stop answering you. They don't care. They're just like, but don't have any judgments about that. Don't feel bad. Don't like, oh, why did they stop responding? Life happens. Okay, people get busy, people go to the beach, they go on vacation, they go there, they go whatever. Life happens. So what you do is you set up what I have here. This is my program that I use called Group Track, but we'll get into that another time, how Group Track works. But I'll put down non-responsive, and then I have these things called snippets that are saved, right? Like, I've done this so long that I have all this already like planned out. I say all the same things all the time. So I have here, you can select a snippet, and it's already like a rendered, pre-done message that you send out all the time. And that way you can just click all day long. You can pitch like 100 times a day, like click, just click. Like, you don't have to keep saying the same stuff. Like, I would kill myself if I had to type the same stuff all day long. So for me, see, I have a follow-up sequence. If you can see this and zoom in a bit, I have a follow-up sequence, follow-up 1, follow-up 2, follow-up 3. That's if they go dead, right? If they just like, they stop messaging, stop talking, or they said no, later on I'll come back and see if they're interested again, because people go through phases. It's like a moving target. Maybe they're not interested today, but maybe tomorrow they are. So I'd hit follow-up 1, and here's the message preview. It just says their name with a question mark to see if they're there. Like, hey, where'd you go? Are you there? You would be surprised. I get back about 80% of the business that I lost. I get it back just by following up with people. So don't give up like, oh, they stopped answering, I guess I'll just like stop following up with them. Follow up with them. Okay, the fortune is in the follow-up. Don't let them just go cold. They're there, they're on your list, they're on your friends list, or in LinkedIn, the connections or whatever. They're there for a reason, right? They were selected because they are probably your ideal client. So don't just like let them run away. Force them to block you if you have to. Just keep on asking if they're there. Hey, are you there? Did you think about what we talked about? So this guy, I asked him if he would be willing to look at a video that might help him out, blah, 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 his affiliate marketing thing. And so, okay, he said yes, and I will send him a link to the video. And it's another snippet, not homework link, case study video, correct, this thing. So I sent him a link to the video, let it load up here for a second. It's not like instant as it should be. I wish it was. One day I'm going to make my own thing. And then just, so there it is. You see the name of the video. Remember I said about positioning it as like this special, like one time only, like private. It creates, marketing should be done at all times, right? Every time, like I wake up in the morning from the time I go to sleep, I'm always marketing. I'm always marketing. I'm always selling. Like ingest it, make it a part of you. Everything you do. This video can't be called like video about thing we talked about. Like that's not marketing, right? Instead, the video is called "Do Not Share Private Case Study Invite." It makes it like, ooh, that's the thing he was talking about. Okay, it's very private. It's like, oh, this is like danger, right? So, so it would send them to this. I'm going to put it on mute. So I'm just going to skip through, and everyone in this program is going to have a template of this. They're going to have an example. I'm going to go deeper into this another time, but this is essentially how the video works. Kind of just spells out what the program's about, what they're going through, what the deliverables are, right? Same thing as your consulting. You have deliverables, what you can do for them. Gives them a quick case study, what you don't need, what they're going to get. It just kind of spells everything out as quickly as possible, right? The people are busy, especially people with money. They're busy. They don't have time. They just want, like, just give me the bing, bang, boom. Come on, let's go, right? They don't have time for like some long explanation. This is, like I said, less than 10 minutes. We're at the, looks like 8-minute mark, and then it's over, right? And it just asks them, what's your choice? You know, are you going with this or are you going with that? And if you go with this, then this is what might happen. If you say no, if this is not for you, that's, I mean, you might figure this out in 6 months, a year, 2 years. You know, who knows? But you know, if you say yes, we can just get this nailed down right now. Then it's your choice. But you'll always look back and think, what if I would have taken that offer? See, marketing, right? So I got into the whole, like, you know, that's what I said in the video, something akin to that, but that's how you want to position it. Excuse me. So some examples here. There's a ton of them. So that's one example. I can kind of show you a bit of, let's see here, Melanie. I'm not sure what she, thanks for the information. Okay. So I can just walk you through. This is exactly how I do it. I looks like she said some weird stuff at first, but like, so I didn't have to do the outreach because she said something first. I was kind of confused, like, huh? Okay, what's up? And then here you go. Example, question, right? Ask permission. Ask permission. I didn't just start asking her questions right out of the gate. Ask permission. The most pivotal, most important thing. And this is when I would bring up this little blue bar here. You know, we'll talk about what group track, how group track works and stuff if you want to use that. But so this is when I went straight into the transition phase. So it said, cool. I actually have a ton of private client resources. Could I ask you a few super quick questions so I know what to send over? And then she has to agree. This is a pivotal moment in the conversation, because if I go in here, and again, if I go in here and I'm just like, well, do you need help with this? What is this? What is that? What is do? What is it? Immediately, it's going to bring up so much resistance. You're going to chase away a lot of prospects if you do it that way. Or as Christy said, if you get into the friend zone and you like try to coach them and help them out and all this stuff, you're going to chase away a lot of people. So we don't do that. As fast as possible, as soon as you recognize, like, hey, I'm getting this person talking and they're talking about maybe the problems in their business or their life or whatever, quickly transition. Hey, okay, cool. I have a few resources I might be able to send you. Could I ask you a few quick questions? Is that okay? So I can like figure out what you might need. Once they say, yeah, sure, shoot, you know, okay, cool, go ahead. They have now agreed to that frame where you're going to proceed to ask them questions. So then it's not so suspicious when you start asking them questions, because you just said, yeah, right? It's like, why are you asking me these questions? Because you said I could, you know, it's like, so it's a super pivotal part of the conversation. I can't even explain in words how important it is. Make sure you do that before you start going into bombarding them with all these questions. So it's like, yeah, okay, cool, blah, blah, blah. So for me, part of my transition, part of my whole finding the gap thing, I just open the floor. What's your story? Why are you getting into this affiliate stuff? Blah, blah, blah. So she's explaining her story, and that's exactly what I want. Great. So she's talking. Rule of thumb, the more white you see versus blue in this scenario, you know, I don't know what color your messenger stuff is. The more white you see versus blue, you're on the right track. Because if you find yourself talking too much, remember cardinal rule. Let's see if I can bring this up again. Is it still there? No, nope, it's not still there. So that was something else. So if you remember the cardinal rule, if you're talking too much, you're going to chase them away. So if you notice here, she's doing most of the talking. That's how it always should be. If you see too much blue on your side of the screen, take a few deep breaths, check yourself. I'm doing too much talking. I'm going to chase them away. No, you're trying to do a lot of convincing. You're not centered. You're not there. You're not present. Don't talk. Ask questions. You've gotten permission to ask questions. Use that power. Okay. So quickly, what's your monthly income goal? Remember, I said, where are they now? Where do they want to be? Right. We're creating that gap, that differentiation. I hope I said that right. Differentiation, something like that. So making 2,000 currently, would like to do better, blah, blah, blah. Okay, cool. Awesome. So we've created a gap. This is where she is, why she's starting. This is where she wants to be. Now, what I would typically do, and I skipped it here. Okay, this is a bad idea. Don't do this. This is advanced. I shouldn't have skipped it. But right there, usually, typically what I do is ask, okay, cool. Okay, great. So what do you feel might be holding you back from getting there? Because remember, we've created that gap. She's here, wants to be here. Okay, well, what do you feel might be holding you back? What do you feel might be stopping you? Or what do you feel you might be your roadblock or your big, problem here? Okay, doesn't matter what industry you're in, doesn't matter how you're serving your clients, doesn't matter. Okay, just kind of edit that into your own thing. There's where they are, where they want to be. Okay, well, what's stopping you? What's holding you back there? You want to know that pivotal piece of information, because later down the line, it's them admitting. It doesn't matter what you say, it matters what they say. They admitted, yeah, this is what I want. I'm stuck because of this. Okay, cool. I skipped to the next question, but I shouldn't have. Okay, I'm just like way too confident with this at this point. So once you have that gap, just pretend I did. I say, okay, well, I'm just curious. If you were to find help with that, is that something you might be willing to invest in, as long as it fit within your budget? You don't want to create too much buying resistance and say, okay, well, do you want to buy something? So I add that little caveat at the end, as long as it fit within your budget. It's almost a forced yes, because if they say no, that makes no sense. I just said, if you were able to find that thing that helps you get across that gap, would you invest in that if it fit within your budget? Because now they can't say, well, I can't afford it. What do you mean it fits within your budget? And so what do you mean you can't afford it? I just said. So 90% of people say yes. 90% of them. Okay. I rarely hear no at this point. This is like a very easy yes to get. So every time, if you notice, if you're playing kind of the golf analogy here, you're putting the ball closer and closer to the hole. Okay. Every question is moving closer and closer to the goal, which is to get the sale, right? To get the client enrolled. So she says a bunch of stuff, blah, 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 blah. I said, I have free training where I said the wrong thing here. So this went all like super far left. I think I clicked the wrong button. I shouldn't have done that. But at that point, maybe I did it later. I didn't do it later. So what I would do at this point is I would nail down if this is a priority. So she said, yeah, blah, 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 or whatever. I don't know what she said, but let's pretend she said, yeah, I would invest in that. Yeah, sure. I nailed down the priority. And what I mean is, I would say, okay, cool. Is this like a priority? Is this something you want to handle like sooner rather than later? Or is it like, I'll wait like 10 years. I'll figure that out some other time. Like, where are you at on that? Word that however you want to word it in your own voice, but you want to figure that out. Oh no, this is a priority. This is, yeah, I gotta get this figured out. Okay, great. Well, with that being said, that's when you go into, well, with that being said, would you be willing to invest in this if it fit within your budget? So it's kind of backwards how I went here. This isn't my typical lead flow, how I did this conversation. I kind of went all over the place, but this is like a symptom of having like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of leads. And sometimes I click the wrong buttons. I forget where people are at. So try to stay as organized as possible. I'm not a very organized person and I still make six figures. So it doesn't even matter. Okay. So it's like you don't have to be perfect. Let's see here. Here's one. Here's one that went pretty well. I'm not sure if I don't think he ended up closing, but it shows you exactly how my flow went. Perfect. My flow went perfect on this one. This is normally how I do it. Okay. You know, the connection. Hey, blah, blah, blah. Nice to meet you. What brings you to online business? See that quick rapport? One quick, easy sentence, not like, hey, how's the weather? What do you like this? Like that. We didn't stay here forever. Quick rapport. What brings you to the online business world? Just to get them talking. Well, you know, blah, 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 blah. Cool. Well, I have a ton of private client resources that I went into the transition, right? Can I ask you some questions? What's your story? Open the floor to you. What's your income goal? Tells me the gap. Where are you now? What do you want to make? Gotcha. What do you feel might possibly be holding you back? That's the proper way to do it. Okay. Pay no attention to the other weird conversation where I went all over the place. Proper way. Identify that gap. Okay. What's stopping you? Right. Okay, well, just curious, if you were to find help with that, would you invest if it fit within your budget? Blah, blah, blah. This gave me some kind of resistance. This is like ninja level stuff. I don't know. I'm tired of losing money. I'm sorry, but my wife is super pissed still. I said, I agree. Let's talk about how to stop that. So this is kind of like a judo move. You know, I took the weight that he's pushing against me. He's like, well, I don't know. I'm tired of stopping. Oh yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm tired of like I'm tired for you. Let's figure that out. Right. So it's like don't worry about that right now. That's like stuff you'll get as you get more and more experience. And then he agreed with that. Like he jumped, I call that a judo move. I used his weight against him and like pulled him in towards me. And so then he agreed to a call. At this point, I was doing calls. I wasn't doing the video strategy, but yeah, it works just as much. Like at that point, you can send him the video, or you can say, you should say like, is this a priority, and then send them a video. But you know, once they come back from that video does all the selling for you. You don't have to jump on a call. You can train your team to do this, and you can do it all day long, every day. You can get like massive numbers of sales every single day, and it's crazy. Okay, all off of one unlisted YouTube video doing all the selling, and it's like 10 minutes long. You know, so yeah, they come back, they seal the deal. Here's the payment plan. Here's the payment, you know, contract, whatever you want, a proposal, whatever you want to send to them, and that's it. And you can move on to the next lead. And as you can see, I have it's like an enormous number of leads. This list is so long that it takes forever for it to load. Okay, so you know, add leads, get friend requests, like make posts, do all that stuff every single day. And so yeah, so in a nutshell, that was kind of a little case study right there, kind of showing you exactly how I do it, how I've taught my clients to do it, and it works. Okay, it 100% works. It seems so simple, so stupid, and it's like, I can't believe that it works. Yeah, that works. That's all people care about at the end of the day, that you care about them. They care that you care about them. So you're asking the right questions. You're figuring out if there's a sale there to be made in the first place. You send them a video explaining kind of how I can help with that problem. They say, yeah. And you can do that like 100 times a day. You know, it's like, it's rinse, wash, repeat. You have that process dialed in. It's like super easy, you know? So with that being said, let me just go ahead and stop the recording. I'm the